I use pots around my garden for all sorts of things, such as this. Not a great specimen, but just raises up a plant of any sort. And this particular shady area, so I've got a hosta in here. Or using tree trunks to place a few pots on. And using a ladder. There's a few things to think about with your pots. First of all, terracotta pots breathe. So you can lose a lot of moisture out the side. And so when you water a pot, particularly with compost, water just runs off the edge, down the side and out the bottom. And this bit can stay very dry. So even though it seems moist, it's not. The bulbs are dry underneath. What do we do with all of this soil? Now there's a lot of roots in here. We can keep it for a couple of years, but it's going to get exhausted after a little while. Now what do you put in your pot? I like a mixture of compost, topsoil and grit, simply because compost alone, as I say, doesn't absorb water unless it's absolutely soaked. So by using topsoil, it's much more moisture retentive, and using grit allows the water to fall through much better. So when you water, the water doesn't just run over the top, it actually penetrates. So the compost is full of nutrients, the topsoil will help retain some moisture when it gets dry, and the agricultural grit will help it drain when it's super wet. So that's a really nice mixture. Some people say put the rocks and broken pots at the bottom, and other people say that the water level stays just above. It depends how you do it, really. If you're breaking that up and gradually allowing the water to run out, then it'll be fine. And yes, it's a fair idea, but the important thing is the soil inside the pot. For the purpose of photography, I use these big old horrible things. They're very ugly, but I think that's about 50 litres. And so it requires a lot of soil, but again, I'm able to maintain moisture levels, get a lot of plants in there for photography, for the website. And I can move them around, although these will weigh about, I don't know, 40 kilograms sometimes when they're wet. This is the pot I'm going to put my tulips in. It's a good size. You imagine, this is my tulip. It's going to go 15 centimeters down. There's still a lot of room for the roots to grow. And then, so it's 1, 2, 3. And then we have all this room here. Anything smaller, this is going to struggle. You need to imagine what the foliage is doing. So the foliage is going to fill out this sort of amount of space. So if you can imagine 1 tulip, 2 tulips, 3 tulips, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 and 9 to fit in there.